Okay, because I remember the moment I met you, actually, and you, Mark, too. Because we were at the Denver Joe Dispenza retreat, and Simone had just bought this gigantic marshmallow snack,
Yay!
and
A
we were
marshmallow snack. I didn't
laughing.
know that.
Yeah.
I had just met Simone through another friend, and we were all laughing hysterically in like the hallway in front of the marketplace at the hotel. And then Mark, you came up and you're like, "Hey, Simone, are you the person from the app?" And I was
Crazy.
like, "Cool." And then,
So
yeah, that
crazy.
was my first time I met both of you.
So you and Simone met right there at that like table?
Mark, I told you about
What?
this in our last call, so I think I should tell this story because it's kind of cool.
Yeah, you
So
should.
we actually met through Lena because we'd all registered, and then I wasn't staying at that hotel, so I was like, I don't really want to go back. Like, I'm here for this event. I want to like be around these people as much as I can. But I was by myself and I'd done that. So there was a WhatsApp group that people had made before the event. And some of them were talking about, oh, maybe we should have dinner before or something. So I just put in there, like, who's around? I've registered. Like, I want to kind of hang out with somebody. And Lena messaged and she was like, I'm here. I'm just outside this restaurant. You know, like the restaurant cafe thing, the one that had the marshmallow squares. And I was like here, and that was like right opposite there. So I literally like looked up from my phone and Lena was there. We
Oh,
were
no
like
way.
that far away from each other, and like that
What?
building is massive. So what are the chances? So then I went over, and then Keegan was sitting with that group.
What? That's crazy.
And that's so funny, Mark, that you walked
Whoa.
up and that was the first time you met Simone. But
Hmm.
what was it from your point of view? And so I saw that first time you two met.
Yeah, I can't believe, yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I know. You saw us meet for the first time too. I love it. So that's how you guys met. That's how we all kind of met at the same time. Really?
Yeah, but
That was
Mark,
it.
maybe you should say like how we were already in contact as well.
Oh yeah, of course. Um, yeah, me and you were in contact because we both were in the Colorado Joe Dispenza group that you can join before the event. And wasn't I was looking for, yeah, I was looking for someone to maybe, was it just to share rides with, right?
I also posted, hey, who can share a ride as well? Yeah.
And then, okay, did you message me or did I message you? Even though we talked about it, I forget.
I think that you commented on my post,
I think I
but
did.
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure I did. And then you were just deciding if you wanted to go with that lady or if you wanted to
Yeah.
try with me. And
Because it
then,
would have been more convenient with that lady, like
yeah,
logistically, because I think her hotel was going to be closer to mine, and she had her own car, whereas we would have been paying for like Ubers or whatever. But I was like feeling you guys out over message, and I was like, nah, I think I like Mark's vibe more.
that's super sweet. Yeah, I guess like that other lady wasn't the best vibe. No offense to her, I'm sure she's a great person. But yeah, I mean, you can really pick up how people are even, I mean, Facebook, I guess you don't really know, but that's cool that you felt it even through Facebook. But yeah, we met through there. So I would have never met Keegan for sure without
Right,
that happening. And
right. Because yeah,
what Keegan, what number of what when you went to the Colorado retreat, what was the number of retreat for you? How many times had you gone before that?
I think at that time it was 6 or 7. but I can't remember which number, but it was around that. Yeah.
Wow. Did you go to Colorado before?
No, that was the first time I went to Denver. Yeah.
Whoa.
So
Mm.
that
I
was
love
so
that.
fun. Yeah, that was so fun. I mean, that day, Simone, we were laughing so hard.
Oh my God, that was crazy. Yeah. We were like sneaking in and like looking at stuff before when we weren't supposed to
In the event, like the
in the
in like where
ballroom.
in the ballroom. That's hilarious. That's
It
awesome.
was Lena. She was a bad influence. I was like, no, no, we can't do this.
That's so cool. Well, do you one of you guys want to ask a question from the mystery list?
The mystery list.
I'm so glad we all met though. And yeah, me and Keegan, we were at the Orlando treat retreat together too and met up randomly, kind of. It
Oh, you should tell the
was
story of how you
awesome.
guys bumped into each other.
Well, yeah, I for me, Simone said that you were gonna go, and then I totally forgot because I was at Nashville prior to that and was just like on a high and wasn't thinking about anything. But then I was I got to Orlando, and uh what was I doing? I was kind of roaming around at night when I got there because I was curious, what where the signs were and all that stuff, and was like roaming near the ballroom and just like a random area in the huge, Gaylord. And then yeah, and then Keegan was walked up and was in the same area, and it was just super random because it was could have been any time and at any moment at any place, and it was right there, and then it hit me. I was like, oh my gosh, Simone told me you were gonna be here, and yeah, so
And I
cool.
said, send me a selfie if you guys meet, and I got that selfie.
Yes.
Mark, it was 10 at night too. It was like 10 or 11 at night. And I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna go walk around. And it was like at the way end where there was nobody. And I just see
Hmm.
this guy walking down, like one person in that whole area.
There really was no one. I can't believe that. Yeah, and it was like 10 o'clock. What
Funny.
beautiful synchronicity. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's now we're friends and we're all hanging out. Um, but yeah, whoever wants to ask the question, I don't know who wants to. It could be anybody.
Who feels called to ask a question?
I'll ask you guys a question. So that Denver retreat, Simone, that was your first retreat, right? And Mark, that was like your second at that time or something?
That's correct.
So, so it's kind of a two-parter, especially like Simone, you coming from Vietnam, like what made you guys take the leap to go to an event and how did it end up being compared to your expectations?
Come on, you go first.
Okay. I will try and make this story as like succinct as possible, but the way that I ended up at an event was kind of crazy because at the beginning of, so we all went to this event in July 2024. At the beginning of 2024, or maybe the end of 2023, I was at a women's circle and we were talking about like what we wanted to manifest in 2024. And one of the things that I wrote down was going to Dr. Joe Dispenza week long. But I remember like the feeling as I was writing it down was like, haha, yeah, I'm just gonna put this down, but there's no way that's gonna happen because I'm in Vietnam and most of his retreats are all the way in the USA. Like occasionally he has some in Europe, but even that is still like, whoa, like a big long distance. Um, and then the beginning of 2024 was really rough for me. And then I decided from now on, I'm going to do his meditations every single day. Like on New Year's Day, I think I decided that. And then the
Mhm.
day after New Year's Day, I had my mystical experience that changed my life. So then I was like, okay, like I'm really into this now. And then maybe like about a third of the way through 2024, things got really tough again. So I was like looking at his website and I knew that the Denver July retreat would be when I was in between two jobs. But I knew that getting this next job was going to be really difficult. Like I might go months and months without finding the right job. So it was like financially, I didn't know what my situation was going to be like. So I was like, should I really like fly all the way to America, get this retreat, flights, living costs, blah, blah, blah. But when I looked at that retreat, it was not open yet. And I had read online that when they open, you need to be like on your laptop ready. And because of the time difference here, it was going to be like crazy o'clock in the morning that I opened up. So I was kind of like, so I let it go for a bit. And then I went through a rough period again. And I was like, I'm just gonna see if there are any spaces open left. That would be really cool. And there were spaces, and this was like maybe 1 or 2 weeks after the opening date. So I was like, is that a sign? And
Well,
then I kind of thought about it for a couple of days, and every time I thought about it, I just felt so fucking excited, like so excited. And I've got like quite a lot of like self-restraint. So like I can like especially with money, so I can like be like, okay, I'd really like to do that, but I shouldn't do that now. But there was like something inside of me that was like, just fucking book the tickets and just like go for it. So I did. And I didn't tell anybody about it for a while because I knew people's reactions would be like, what the hell? Like, because I'd been in Vietnam at that point for 2 years and I hadn't even like visited home or anything. So to like go
well,
all the way to the other side of the world for this retreat, for this guy that a lot of people think is a cult leader was like, yeah, I didn't tell anybody for a while because I was like, I didn't want them to like make me question my decision. But I'm so glad that I like listened to that. Yeah, so that's how I ended up there.
whoa.
That's so brave, courageous.
Or crazy. Very
I
uncharacteristic as well. Very uncharacteristic. So I guess I was already changing as a person to do something like that.
I I had a question. I totally forgot. Damn it. Oh well. Um, wow, there's something in there that you said that I did not know about. And if I can remember, I'll go back to it. But
Is it the mystical experience, Mark, that she was referring to?
no, I think maybe I was shocked that you've been in Vietnam for that long. And then also, um, I didn't know that you waited I didn't know that you waited to get the ticket to go to Colorado like a couple weeks and it was still
Yeah,
available.
yeah.
Wow,
So I
that's
was like,
amazing.
oh, I was expecting this to be totally sold out. So I was kind of like, oh, is that a sign?
Yeah, I mean, Colorado is pretty popular from what I know, right?
I think so. I don't know. Keegan, you probably know best.
Yeah, I think, I mean, sometimes I'm shocked. Like a Cancun will open and there'll still be space like a week later, and I'll be like, what? Like,
Yeah, wow.
um, so I don't know. I don't really know, but But Simone, that shows you like really trust your gut, like especially when you feel that feeling of excitement. That's like a really good sign, like that you're on the right path, like to just trust.
That's so true. So, so true. And
How about
I
you,
sw
Mark? Oh, sorry.
no, I was just gonna say, I swear that's our higher selves. That's like these beings,
Mhm.
these angels that are speaking to us this whole our whole life are they've been talking to us. And it's not just your thoughts. So what you felt to go to the retreat was totally, totally real and like coming from source, you know. We can't,
I agree.
yeah, we can't disregard those feelings and our heart, you know. Yeah, that's really cool. Um, what was the question again? I,
It was, it was, what made you take the leap to go to an event, like maybe your first one in Orlando, and how was either one for you compared to your expectations?
and are you talking about Colorado? Like,
Well, I guess it could be either one because Colorado was your second one, so maybe just like overall, what are the events like compared to your expectations of what you thought it would be like?
wait, and what was the first part of the question again? I
Like,
apologize.
what made you take the leap, like to go to an event?
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, okay, got it.
Yeah, I really want to know that, like for your first event, like why?
Yeah, I won't take too much time either, because I'll kind of tell you all of them, of why they happened. Um, so yeah, my first event in Cancun definitely was never expecting to go to a Joe Dispenza event or any type of meditation retreat in my life, to be honest. Maybe I did know, but they're expensive, you know. Um, but with Cancun, um, I one of my friends introduced me to Joe Dispenza. I think you guys maybe know obviously some of the story, but um, yeah, one of my friends introduced me to him and his podcasts and his books, and I read Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Um, and prior to all this, I was like really invested in like philosophy, and so I was already on that path of like, there's got to be more than just feeling like crap all the time. Um, but yeah, my friend introduced me to him, and there's a longer story that I could go into about my friend, but I won't do that. But he was like he had a lot of money that came to him, and he offered to pay for my for a retreat, to Joe Dispenza's retreat, and it was really hard to accept because I don't, you know, with money and that, you know, spending that much, I'm like, I don't know. So it took me like a few weeks to really, yes, I love
Money.
that. Money, money, money. But yeah, it took me like a f few weeks to really be like, yeah, I'll go because it was new and but I was very interested. I was like, there's something there for sure. And I had no idea what that retreat was gonna turn into. But so yeah, that one had happened out of nowhere. It definitely was a part of my story and my awakening because at that Cancun retreat, I had many mystical experiences, activated my pineal gland and had a full-on awakening and finally woke up. So that's why I was able to go to the first one. I would have never gone to a retreat if I didn't have someone help me out. I did not have that, yeah, kind of money at the time. Money, money, money. So that's Cancun, and then Colorado was super random too. Um, Basically, I had like a breakup happen, and then my whole life, sh and so let's say I went to Cancun in December of 2023. And so Colorado was in June of 2024, so 5 months maybe or something like that. Um, but I had a breakup happen in May, and my whole life shifted, and I knew about what I was, but I still was falling back into the 3D. And so like I was going through a really rough time and I wasn't meditating that much. And yeah, the breakup happened, and then all these beautiful people came into my life, like all these angels and like people that woke me up even more that knew about aliens and like solar flares and this whole story. And um, a part of the people that I met these two people named Zach and Jordan, and well, another Zach invited me to their house, invited me to Zach and Jordan's house, to do a silent meditation. And it was really like maybe a few weeks after my breakup. So I was like, really just anything to get me out of that state of mind. And so we did a silent meditation in their beautiful basement with like, 10 people, and just I had a full-on mystical experience. I wasn't even like doing anything with breath work or pineal gland activation. I just was like, but that was the first time that I really connected with those beings, and I didn't know it at the time. But anyways, I had a full-on mystical experience, and I was like, whoa. And so that woke me up even more. I got to know Zach and Jordan more, became really good friends with them. But that night that I did meet them, they talked about Joe Dispenza, and I was like, wait, what? You guys know Joe Dispenza? And they were planning on going to Colorado. And at that time, I didn't even think about it. I was just like, that's awesome. You guys are going. I'm so excited for you, yada, yada. Side note, they actually were able to go to that retreat because at one of their silent meditations, someone gave them a donation of like 2 grand. Yeah, so pretty crazy. So that's a beautiful synchronicity for them. So anyways, I wasn't planning on going or even thinking about that because at the time I would just, I was trying to heal. I really didn't have the money for that. And then I think like a couple months passed and the retreat had been out and it was like sold out. And I think it was maybe like 3 weeks before the event. I don't know what hit me. I think I was just like, I gotta go. My life needs to change. I need to like step into the unknown, and just take a risk. Like I've never gone into whatever debt or, and I used some of my like tax money to go. And um so yeah, I ended up going and got in with the wait list. I was like, that's a sign. So yeah, that's how that one went, and pretty crazy. And then I met you guys, and so my whole life shifted and met so many cool people there. And then these next ones I'm gonna make quick because they're not as crazy, I don't think. Well, kind of crazy. Um, so after Colorado, I really was like, oh my God, I'm starting to understand the work, and like I really think I know what I am. And but I think I had a moment where I fell again, where I was just but I was meditating every day and having awesome experiences. But I think I was about to go to Thailand actually for work, and I ended up not going because of some weird reason. And I was like kind of bummed, and I was just like, what am I doing? Like I need to step into the unknown more. So I think I saw those retreats were available Tennessee and Orlando. And I was just like, I'm gonna go to Tennessee and like step into the unknown even more. I don't know why I feel this way, but I feel like I need to go and learn more. And I don't know, I just said, why not? Like I'm gonna be not in this body one day. Like I wanna know what I am, you know? So yeah, I booked Tennessee, and then I don't know, I think I just was like in a weird, crazy mood, and I was like, I'm gonna book Orlando because it's available as well. So yeah, that's kind of how that happened. And then I ended up at those events having those really profound experiences and those coherence healings where I, connected with those beings and had some, yeah, really awesome moments. So it was all meant to be, and I have no regrets. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's amazing. And I think that the universe rewards us when we take those reckless leaps of faith. Every time that I do that now, since that very reckless leap of faith, I feel like the universe is like, yes! And then it like gives you little like signs for like, that's good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
100%. It's telling you like, good job, you did what you didn't do in your last life, you know?
Yeah.
You did a good, yeah. And then you have synchronicities, you know?
Keegan, I
Yeah.
want to know for you because you are such like a
Yes. Oh my gosh.
MVP of retreats. So I want to know like what made you go to that first one?
Mm-hmm.
Um, that is funny to me like that. Um,
MVP.
which is, yeah, I don't, yeah, I did go a little crazy in 2024. I mean, with like going to a lot, but the first one was funny because my first one was Orlando, and
Oh
it
yeah.
changed. It ended up changing like my entire life. But
Wow.
it's always like in this very subtle way that you don't like realize like what just happened to you until like after, like sometimes months after, you're just like, oh, I met that person there. And then shifted like that whole part of my life or whatever. But anyway, I digress. I went because I could not take another day of being who I was. And I kept like seeing Dr. Joe Dispenza pop up on like totally unrelated YouTube people that I watch. And I'd be like, oh my God, they're talking about him again. Like, who the fuck is this guy? And then I finally looked into it. And then I might have found like people dancing at a retreat and stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is like meditation and like a rave. What? And then that was it. Every night I was like seeing Dr. Joe in front of me, like right before I'd go to sleep and imagining I was there and seeing the dance floor and like seeing Dr. Joe lecturing and every night as I went to sleep. So I should just digress a little bit because the reason I was doing silent meditation at that point for like the last 6 months or something. And a lot was actually starting to manifest, but I wasn't like fully, I don't know, ready to go or whatever. But that's when, yeah, I started seeing him was like after doing silent meditation. And so once I started doing Dr. Joe's meditations, I remember I tried to do some from YouTube, but they weren't really doing it. So I like went and bought them. Um, yeah, then I was like, oh, this is like so much better doing it this way. And then, yeah, so I went to that one, I think on a credit card and had applied for a couple of scholarships. And then at that retreat, very unexpectedly had like a bunch of mystical stuff happened was um I was kind of like in a victim mode because I wasn't a healie. So I was like, oh, I wasn't a healie and then I finally like had to get over myself while I was there and I was like trying to put so much love into the person and then ended up getting like this crazy energy activated and then had a
Wow.
mystical experience and then had this girl sit next to me who wrote a book, and that changed my whole financial trajectory. So, like, so
Whoa.
much happens, but you don't realize. I think for me, now having been to some of these, it's always shocking to me, like, what actually did happen there that, like, shows up in my life, like, months down the road. And I'm just like, holy shit. Like, yeah, that happened because of that synchronicity that happened there or whatever, you know?
Cool.
Yeah, it's almost like you've got all the dots, and then like months later, you can like connect them, and you're like, ah, it's all connected.
Right. Right. It's so crazy. Yeah.
What?
So, oh,
Um. Oh, go. Here you go.
I was just gonna say, like, so it was mostly like that you were doing these silent meditations and they were helping a little bit, but you felt like you needed a bit more. And then the fact that Joe was like appearing everywhere, you were like, okay. Had you
Yeah,
done his meditations before going there?
just a little bit. Like mostly I was so used to doing silent meditations. And Mark, I think you can relate to this because I think something I've seen that you did a video on or something had to do with like anxiety. But I used to have like severe anxiety, I would say. And also, it was a result of being like not aligned with what I do with work. And so a lot of work stuff was causing me like very intense stress. And that stress has continued all the way up to where I've now resigned. Finally, it took me long enough, but
Nice.
resigned from the work that I do. But anyway, yeah, so I think just like living in that kind of like state of surviving, like survivalship or like trying to survive and having really severe anxiety, that's what led me to meditation. And like now I feel like totally different person now, however many years, a couple years later, whatever.
Woohoo!
I mean, it still comes up in a way different way. Like that's way more with like awareness and tools to deal with it.
Same. What were you gonna ask, Mark?
Um, how did you hear about Joe Dispenza, Keegan?
I think it was mostly through those YouTube, like that because I would watch a lot of NDEs. Don't you do
Mm.
that too, Simone? Yeah, and so I'd be like, okay, Dr. Joe came up on this NDE, and then I'm watching something totally different, unrelated, and he would come up on that. And so like when things come up like three times, I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to like read that book, or I'm supposed to like. And then when I knew it was like a thing, like we were talking about in the other video, to like, or before we re-recorded, like to go and like like there was all this dancing and all this stuff. I just made it like it was my nightly thing. Like I was gonna go and I was gonna visualize him until I got there. And like I was just so fucking determined. And
Wow.
ironically, too, I will say in Orlando, it was like I didn't even know like it was a thing like that he came out in the audience. And so he was just like my dream. You know, he was just like
Whoa.
foot in front of me where you're tucking your feet in. So he just stuck her foot and he's like yelling at her, you know, like like in front of your face. Which friend in my mouth would just my jaw would drop and I'd be like, oh my God. Because he was like standing right there. I had like fangirl. Yeah.
That's
I totally
amazing.
had a fangirl moment too. And I think he noticed it and he was like, she's weird.
He gets it all the time. I mean, when you change someone's whole trajectory in their life, you gotta expect to have fans like that. I mean, wow. So Keegan, you didn't really meditate? You weren't really meditating before, or kind of a little bit?
Yeah, just silent meditation. I think for about 6 months or so, or maybe 6 or 8 months before I went. Can't remember. It could have been a year, but it was just silent. Like literally, I would just sit down and hear this high pitch in my ears and just tune into that.
Wow. Dang, nice. That's awesome. Congrats. Wow.
That's
Wow, that's
totally opposite to Dr. Joe's style of meditation as well, right? Because he's like shouting at you and like putting his weird voice on.
Yeah, at first I was like, okay, no, hard no. Like he's fucking yelling at me. Like, not do this.
How was he coming up in NDEs, Keegan? In what
Um,
way?
I think the host of the channel like had wanted to go to his retreats for a really long time. And I was like, well, why would you just want to go for a really long time? Like, why would you like make it happen? Or I don't know, because that's how kind of how I think. I'm just like, well, if that's what you want, then you like go for it. But but anyway, and then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna make that happen then. So I would that's when I was like applying to scholarships and stuff like that, but I didn't get any of them.
So
And
you
then
just
you
kind of
met
like step.
Kira. Sorry, Mark, I keep
No, don't be
interrupting you.
sorry. What
You
did you
go
say?
first. I just said then you met Kira because Kira's the lady that helped. She sprinkled her financial magic on Keegan.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we're in this workshop right now, Simone and I, with this woman, Kira, and she just sat next to me, showed like my first retreat, the last 2 minutes. Things happen in like the last 2 minutes. I swear to God, I've had that happen before.
Wow,
Like
yeah.
you have two mark, you're like you're like, okay, I gotta catch my plane. And like this woman like sat next to me inside the ballroom. And I'm like, hey, how many retreats have you been to? It's just like a common question that gets asked. And she was at that time, she was like 14. And I was like, what? Like, that's a thing? Like, people do that? Like, and then and then she showed me this book and then she put it in her purse. But the way she said it to me was hysterical because she was so embodied and so entitled and so empowered that she looked at me. And when I said, how do you do that? She goes, I just go whenever I want. Like, what was wrong with me that I was like asking, like, like that I had the audacity to ask her how she did it. And then I was like, okay, fucking A, I guess I'll do a 180 in my mind now. And then that's when I changed. Yeah, stuff changed.
Yeah, it really is those last moments that crazy synchronicities can happen at those events for sure. Um,
What's happened to you, Mark, last in the last seconds?
Now you put me on the spot.
I'm
I
sorry.
no, don't be sorry. Um, I can't really think of one for some reason. But every retreat, oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I can. When I was with you in Orlando, we had that amazing conversation outside. That was cool.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. Okay, I actually do have a couple of things. Yeah, like the if you're on it, you feel like you're on ecstasy feeling after these retreats. Um, and yeah, right as I was about to leave Orlando, me, you, and Kevin just like sat down and just was in bliss, and I felt so amazing. I was like, I am definitely on, Molly right now, my own Molly in my body. Um, Definitely that, and then same in Colorado with Simone, me and her and a few friends like sat on that grass, the same kind of grass that's in Orlando, and just had hung out all day, and it went by so fast, but we were just like in bliss and like was out in the sun and just chatted and
We were doing sausage rolls on the grass as well.
oh yeah.
I know that hill, like, yeah, or
And I
just on the grass.
remember, I do you remember at one point, Mark, that I was crying? And one thing that I'll never forget is like I was crying and oh God, what's his name? Not Zach, your other friend.
Jordan.
Jordan was with me and he was like kind of saying like let it out, like and then the song that was playing, the words that it was saying were literally like they were saying to me, let this out,
Oh
let it
wow.
go. And I was like, sometimes the synchronicities are so wild that I'll literally be like, am I being punked right now? Like, this is
Yeah,
too fucking weird. Like, are you guys all like in on this? Because this is so weird right now.
so true. Oh my
Yeah.
God. I love it. Oh, I love it so much.
So moral of the story, try to stay an extra day. Don't leave right away.
That is the key. Yeah. And thankfully for me, I knew to do that because my friend was like, you need to stay an extra day. And I was like, okay, man. And I'm glad that I learned that because yeah, you connect with those people and like have so many synchronicities after that. Uh Man, when I got home from my Cancun retreat, I was like tripping. Like I was literally what Simone said earlier, where and you're recently experiencing this is when you close your eyes, you're like still having these visuals and are like in another world. Like I had that for like a month and it was so cool and like spooky sometimes. I was like, where am I? Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
Like your brain gets expanded on a certain level because it reminds me of like going to Burning Man and you're seeing like all this floating art going all over the desert and all this stuff like you've never visually seen like the first time you go to Burning Man or something and then your dreams are like your consciousness like has expanded like in your dreams. It's kind of like the same thing like after you go to a retreat because you haven't probably meditated maybe that much or something like in that short of time.
Exactly right. Exactly right. I'll ask a question now. Let me look real quick. Boop, boop, boop. Like you had some up here. Okay. Um, I like this question. I'll ask Keegan this question first. What is your go-to meditation with Joe Dispenza's meditations?
Hmm. That's tough because lately I've been doing a couple that are like my favorite, but um it's so funny. I end up back at the core four, I would say. Um because in in the online progressive, um or whatever he calls that course, the progressive intensive or something. Um there's generous present moment,
Mhm.
changing beliefs and perceptions, tuning into new potentials, and balancing of the energy center. And it's funny because yeah, I end up like inevitably back like with one of those, but like doing the breath. But now I just make my own breath tracks so that it goes longer. And then for like a usual day for me is like doing the breath for like 20 minutes or something, and then doing the in and out breath maybe for like 10, and then doing one of those. And then I do a walking meditation. I've been doing a walking meditation every day for a couple of weeks, and I'm really
Wow.
enjoying that.
Wow.
Uh, But I
Hmm.
haven't been doing an evening meditation like you guys are. I'm pretty much just doing like walking, and then maybe at night as I'm falling asleep, I'll play one. What about for you guys?
Simone, you go first.
Um, okay. My go-tos definitely can't just pick one. Um,
Yeah, that's hard.
It is.
Definitely tuning in to new potentials. You know what? Maybe if I had to pick one, maybe that. But I want to say the other ones that are important as well. Tuning into new potentials, electric body, which is
Yeah, you
blessing of
love
the
body
energy
electric.
centers. Yeah.
Oh my God, I
But
forgot
that one's
about
like
that. What the
an hour and 30 minutes, so you have to have like enough time to do that. Um,
that was powerful.
and actually, you guys have made me think of something, and I'm glad that you did. So when I had my mystical experience, it was doing the pineal gland meditation, but at that point I hadn't bought any of Joe's meditations, so it was on YouTube. So, and you guys know that when the meditations are on YouTube, a lot of the time, like somebody's like ripped different parts of a meditation and put it together, or it's like an old version or blah blah blah. But when I have done his pineal gland one, the updated one, and the real one now. I don't connect with that one as much, which is a shame because I think for me, the pineal gland can like take me places. So I haven't actually done the pineal gland for a long time now. Now I'm thinking I should
Simone,
try
I
it
just thought of
again.
something that you should try.
Well,
Have you ever done Center of the Magnet?
no, because it's like 4 hours,
You
right?
want to have a mystical experience? I'm actually thinking about doing it in the morning now because it just you talking about this, I'm like when I did that, oh my gosh, I had some crazy experiences with that. Probably actually one of the most spooky experiences I've had meditating because I really was out of my body for like 10 seconds. And it was so I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm just saying maybe try something like that. Like wake up at like early and don't expect obviously, but
Mhm.
I don't know, just a thought.
Guys, sorry, Simone, I have two questions. One is, Simone, you said there was like a pineal gland that you resonated with and one that you didn't. Can you like clarify which ones you're referring to? And then my second question for after that is just like, is there a breath incorporated in center of the neck?
Yeah, so the one that I resonated with was a fake one on YouTube, and it doesn't exist anymore because a lot of the time when these are put on YouTube, they get shut down because Encephalon's like that's copyright.
Mhm.
And the song that was in it was, I think, was also a huge part of me having that mystical
Mhm.
experience because the song was so beautiful. Actually, recently now, in my meditation experience in general. I've been having I don't know if you guys have felt this before. Please let me know. I've been having this weird feeling where I feel like sometimes like the music is communicating something to me.
It's cool as shit.
I,
So
I believe that.
yeah, when the song is like, I don't know, a certain type of way, that really helps me like get deeper or yeah.
You tune into your
Um
heart more probably. Like you probably get those elevated emotions maybe. Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
it feels like because obviously, like music is vibration, right? So it feels like I become the music and then I understand the vibration. I don't
That's
really know how
cool.
to explain it.
That's cool. Whatever gets you in that state.
Yeah.
That's
And as for
amazing.
like frequency or whatever, I do 10 minutes of breath work in the morning and then 10 minutes at night and then my chosen meditation for the day.
Nice.
You're having really profound experiences. And yeah, I think it's important, like for people that are watching this to know, like you've just been incredibly consistent doing like that one meditation at the same time every day, right? Like
Yeah, mostly, yeah. But the thing is,
it's
when
not
I
normal.
like, it doesn't feel like my experiences are like really like, whoa. It just feels like I have this new understanding of stuff that comes in a very subtle way, not like the same way that when I had my mystical experience, I was like, whoa, I'm in another dimension. Nowadays, it's more like I just get these messages and I'm like, maybe because I'm more accepting of them now. I don't know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I get that. Been meditating for a year. How long have you been meditating for, Simone? Like with Joe's stuff.
since the beginning of last year, so just a year and a month now. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. I mean, it's like, yeah, I think after, I don't know. I don't know what to expect because I'm like in, it's been a year for me really meditating every day. And so I'm so curious, like what will happen in a couple of years? And I don't know, you just can't expect, right? It's the key. You gotta remember that. But
It
yeah,
feels like it's never ending though. It feels like you can always go deeper. You can always learn something new. You can always see something new. Like
yeah,
even when you feel like maybe your meditation is a bad meditation, I feel like there's always something. Like you feel the energy just a little bit more in that meditation, or you surrender just a little bit more than you did the day before, or you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I just watched a testimonial and it was so good because she just said at the end, she said it wasn't like every time she meditated, she was like deep. She's like she spent 45 minutes overcoming her thoughts and maybe it was like 15 minutes like dropping in. Um, but she was like really reiterating like she never had mystical experiences. She never had anything like super crazy happen. Like none of like the things that you would think are like wow, like off the chart whatever. And ultimately she was talking about something that she healed and like some incredible experience that ended up happening, but I can't remember in particular. I think it was, yeah, she cured herself of breast cancer. So it was, but she said like it wasn't like this crazy concise poignant moment that happened. It was just having regular meditations.
Wow. Yeah, there's not a right or wrong way, I don't think. You know, when you connect, man, you connect. That's awesome. Holy crap.
I feel like I even had this weird moment recently on Christmas Day where I was sitting beside two of my friends and I was already like feeling like really in my heart that day because Christmas is a bit difficult when you're living abroad. And then kind of last minute, I got invited to this thing and it was like a potluck and all of my friends were going to be there. So I think I felt like so grateful because it was almost like, oh, like this is like my family for today. And I had this weird moment, and again, it was like almost like where I was like, am I being punked right now? Because this is so weird. Where I had two of my friends sitting beside me, and it almost felt like I could feel their energy or their thoughts, only for like 1 or 2 seconds. But I don't know how to describe it, but it was so weird because it was like I just knew what they were feeling like and their relationship to me in that moment. So I feel like, that is a result of meditating. Like
Hmm.
these like subtle things during your day as well
Yeah.
are as a result of you expanding your consciousness.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we're telepathic and we've forgotten that we're telepathic. So that's probably what you experienced for a second. I mean, you're right. The more you connect with the field, the more you become more, more wave and less particle. Yeah. I've had weird moments like that too. Not specifically like that, but some deja vu, like, yeah. So that's really cool. Love that.
Yeah, I'll
I have
find
a
like I'll
question.
just
Oh
oh
no,
go
please.
ahead. No, no, you go ahead.
I This isn't a question from the phone, but like recently, in my meditations, probably the past like probably since the new year, maybe a little bit before that, I can't like I fall asleep a lot in my meditations. And I know it's a part of it, and not every time, but quite a bit. Like I don't fall asleep for a long time, maybe like 10, 15 minutes into it. And it drives me nuts because like I'm trying to do tuning into potentials and I can't do it. Or like, yeah, I'll fall asleep right as he is about to like say that moment, and then I'll wake up and then I'm in the second tuning into potential, and I'm like, okay, let's do this, and I fall asleep, and then I miss out on both of them. So trying to figure that out, and then also another thing is like when I can't even focus on Joe's voice anymore when I meditate. I feel like I was more tapped into it, and then I started having those, experiences with the beings, and like I go to like another place and I can't even focus on anything because I'm just so in tune with them or whatever. So I don't know what my question is there, but I guess mainly, yeah, have you guys experienced things like that where you can't even like create in your meditations?
You want to go first, Keegan?
Well, I identify identical to like what you said, like where you like fall asleep and you're like, damn it, we're on the second potential. Just-
So stupid, right? Ugh, that's cool that you
that
relate.
is so funny because yeah, if you're getting up at 4 a.m. and like by the time I get to the meditation, that's like quite, some time has passed. So like
Hmm.
I'm getting tired again.
Right.
But anyway, I just think it's like so unexpected. Like when I drop in so deeply and have profound body sensations, and when it's just like so random. Like, yeah, like I think now, like I just completely like accept it in that moment. I'm like, okay, I missed the first potential. I fell asleep. I'm like, okay, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and catch the second one if I'm awake for it.
Yeah.
And then I like just let it go. And then I'm just like, okay, well, this afternoon when I'm doing a walking meditation, I'm pretty sure I'll be awake because I'll be walking. So that'll
Mm,
be good.
right.
And then like the next morning I just start over and like maybe I'll have something really deep and profound happen. So I think in
Okay.
every moment it's teaching us to let go, like whether it's like, okay, I've fallen asleep for the last five, and it's like the constant process of letting go, like to ourselves, even in our own expectations for ourselves, because of course as soon as we let it go we're going to have like something, we're going to allow and be in alignment because we're not like resisting ourselves, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Quick little side question while you're on that note. Like, um, crap, I just forgot. No, 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 no. When you have like that potential, you think that potential, and you really feel it with your heart, you draw it to you. How many times do you do that? And like, how many times do you work on that same potential? Because I've heard from people that just like let it go, obviously, right? But do you tune back into it again later on in another tuning potential?
Moon, do you want to answer that or do you want me to respond?
Who are you asking, Mark?
Oh, any of you guys? Sorry, I kind of interrupted Keegan's response, but I just thought of a question while she was.
You go, Keegan.
Okay. Yeah, what I do is I think of it and I actually let it go by the end of that potential. Like then I just like throw it way out into the universe with like a cord of like energy or light that is like goes to my heart, but I just like throw it way, way out. And
Love
then
that.
it's just
Okay.
gone. It's just gone. I just let it go. And then you know how in that meditation he brings you back again, like then you go like back into space, or I forget where he has you go back to, but he does the interim. And so, yeah, then at the second potential, yes, to be honest with you, usually daily, my potentials are, it is the same thing I'm working on. Overall, it has been like for this last few months. But yeah, but I'm always like throwing it way the fuck out. But it's still attached to me just so that I can let it go in a very visual way.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah.
Do you
Okay.
mean that, do you mean, do I do the same potential twice in one meditation?
Um, Not necessarily. I mean, do you come back to it? Like, do you come back to it in like a couple days later or like a week later? Do you go back to that, or do you just let it go and then do you work on other potentials? Because I'm thinking that I need to focus in on just one potential because I think I may be doing too many. Not saying it's not going to happen, but I don't know if that works very well.
I have about three different potentials, maybe four that
Okay.
yeah, do.
Okay.
Um, I usually, depending on how I feel that day, pick between those four. Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, that's good to know. I can't even remember the first question I asked Keegan. What was it? Do you remember,
It was
Keegan?
about sleeping. Are you sitting up when you do your meditations?
I am. Like I'll go into like a light sleep for a second. Like I
Mhm.
can't, I don't know why. Like it'll maybe be like 10 or 15 minutes. And I just like wake up and I'm like, "Oh, what did Joy even say?" Or and it hasn't happened until recently. I don't know.
I have
But I
good
think
news for you.
Keegan's right. Yeah, that we just have to like something that I've been saying to myself recently is like this moment is absolutely perfect and exactly where I need to be right now. So even if that means that you're sleeping,
Yeah,
this moment is absolutely perfect and I'm right where I need to be right now.
yeah,
Um,
that's a good way to put it.
I haven't had that so much because I do mines in the evenings, but maybe if I did mine in the morning, I would be in the same. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean it happens in the morning and in the evening, so I don't know. I think you're right though. I'm grateful and I know it's not gonna be forever. But Keegan, what were you gonna say?
I have really good news for you. I have great
Yeah.
news for you
Hell yeah.
because when I was in Cancun just recently, Dr. Joe was on stage talking about this, and he said when we were out in the walking meditation, he said he turned to the guy who was next to him and said, "Those three people are in a light sleep," because he was mentioning he wants us to be in that, and you guys have probably heard this before too, in that perfect between waking and sleep state. Where is that gamma, maybe? Or anyway, maybe that's like where people go into gamma or
I
delta,
think
or
it's
I could
is
be,
it theta?
yeah,
I don't
okay,
know.
but yeah, because I could be totally off on like what I'm calling this. But
Very good.
the point was that that's what he's tuning into when he's walking on the beach and he's looking at people in standing meditation before they walk. He's tuning into the people who are in a light sleep while they're
Mm.
standing up. And that's what he's mentioning to the person that's with him. Like those three are in a sleep state, but standing. So
Whoa.
very fascinating to me because I think you're getting deeper and you're maybe misdiagnosing it as that you're sleeping through it, that you're
Very
actually in a deeper
interesting.
state.
Very interesting.
I
Huh.
remember
Thanks
I
for bringing
read
that
a
up. That's interesting.
sorry, just to like go on from what Keegan said as well. Um, I remember I read a post somewhere where somebody had written that they were going really deep in their meditations where their body was asleep but their mind was awake and their snores woke them up. But they were saying that it was because they were so deep in their meditation. It wasn't like something to be annoyed about.
Wow. Damn. Okay. That's good to know. Jeez.
As you guys, you know how like we all go through different phases, like different phases of the breath, different phases of our focus and all that stuff. I think you
Yeah.
might be in a different phase, Mark, that you just haven't been in before, which is like a deeper state.
I think you're totally right. I really appreciate you. Wow. Yeah, that's actually helping a ton. Like it's thank you. Yeah, that a lot of good advice. Cause I think so too. And I'm yeah, glad to hear that from you guys. Especially yeah, the walking and sleeping. That makes a lot of sense.
What would you say to a non-believer? I was actually talking to somebody recently, one of the collaborations that's going to come out about Dr. Joe. And then I realized like halfway through me talking how much I was like trying to because I'm so passionate about it, how much I was like trying to persuade him. And I could feel that I wasn't persuading him, and that made me like even more like, no. But then I realized what I was doing, and I was like, no, Simone, like, yeah.
I get that. You have to gauge it, and I've done that too, where I've like, well, it's too much. But you get passionate because you want people to feel how you feel and to remember what they are, you know? So, anyways, what was your question again?
What would you say to a non-believer? But then now that I've experienced that the other day, would you even say anything?
No, yeah, I don't think I would either. I I think it would depend on like what I was feeling from that person. If I could tell they were kind of open about it, I'd plant a seed for sure. And I'm like, hey, check out, and I always say it's not just Joe Dispenza. It's many of, like Ram Dass or Alan Watts. I always say that I'm not trying to like say it's Joe Dispenza that's going to change your life, but I do mention him, and I'm like his work and like meditating like changed my life, and um I send people like some podcasts, simple stuff, and that's what was sent to me, and it changed my whole reality, like and how now, yeah. So I can't not do it, but if I can tell the person's not, I don't know, I gauge it. I definitely do most of the time plant that seed if someone's like kind of opening up about it or they're having a hard time in their life. Because yeah, like with Joe, he knows how to wake up people that are in, such like the beginning stages where because the science and basic things like changing your emotions and so I think yeah, I I, I definitely have to gauge it.
Can I change my question then, or like slightly? So, right, say that you're with somebody and you can see like that they are open to it, and you can either give them like one fact, like one scientific fact, maybe that Joe says or anybody else says, or one experience that you can be like, look at this, like, look at this. This helped me to believe in it more. So maybe you looking at this will help you believe it more.
Keegan, you go.
I have to tie it into the way you asked the first question because I don't talk about it to anyone just because, like, I want to be that example out in the world. Like, yes, how much I've changed, how much my life has changed, but also like the people I've been in touch with are like very entrenched in like the 3D and living in the past. And so it's not like anything I say is gonna like change them, but just I think it's really powerful, like who I'm being, like who am I being, like every single day. And I think that promotes like a curiosity in people to like want to ask, like, like what do you do? And I've asked other people before, like, and I'm still learning so much from people like at retreats if their energy is like really amazing. I'm just like, well, what else do you do? What do you do? Um and so that like still changes my life. But I think I just it has to be like this curiosity where they come to me. So the second part of your question was what it was like, what would you suggest to them or something? Or
Like if somebody was open,
well, right, if they're
so
open.
they're already open, but they just kind of need to like be tipped over the edge. What is like one fact that Joe says that you could be like, look at this, or one experience that you have had that you can be like, look at this to like tip them over the edge? Or
I
like,
would
what is the bridge? I guess it depends as well on that person's level of consciousness before.
Totally. All I would say is like read Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Like if someone was like bummed out or like at a breaking point or something like that, and they were looking for an answer, then I would just say, just read Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself and just kind of give it to them or leave it for them to decide to open it up in their own timing, you know?
That's a good one. That's a
That
very
is a
much a
good
good
one.
one.
I think that's the first book that I read of his as well. But I think me too, like you, Mark, I watched a lot of podcasts first
You know
with
what?
him. Yeah.
Well, I can't remember if I read the book first or podcast. I think maybe it was podcasts, and then my friend got me the book or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's cool that you experienced it that way too. But yeah, I agree, Keegan. I think that's a yeah, a great way to just be like mention that book and then let it go from there, you know. You'll never know when they like open it one day and it just like changes, who they are.
And I
Not that,
also, oh, sorry, you
okay,
go, Keegan.
you go.
I was just gonna say, like, I also think you're totally right on with like being the example rather than trying to persuade somebody. Just be the
Yes,
example, and then the natural curiosity will come.
yes.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
Yeah,
agree
and
with that. Oh my God.
yeah, Mark, thanks. And thanks, Simone, for saying that. I think it's just from like doing it the wrong way too many times. Like where I was so excited about it and I was trying to like, but then I realized like we're we're all here for a different lesson. And my lesson in this lifetime is like doing this work and how I'm evolving in it. But that doesn't mean like that's someone else's path because even like
Yeah,
someone I'm very close with in my life, he's very spiritual, but like he is so not into Dr. Joe's work. Like,
sure.
and so I just had to been like, be like, okay, cool. It's good.
I I love that. I mean, it's so true because yeah, I know people that are spiritual, but they're not into his work either. Um, so you're right. It's literally what Joe says. Be the example of truth because that's when you have synchronicities. That's when you start waking people up because people are like he always says, like, why are you so happy? What's up with you? What's going on with you? Like I've had that happen multiple times in my life.
That's what I
So
was gonna ask. Have you guys ever had that happen where people have been like, "Wow, you're different. Like, what's your secret?" Or like, yeah, what, yeah.
ooh, I want to hear from both of you guys what has happened like that.
I mean, I can't think of a specific moment right now. But I have had people at my work where, they're like, you seem so happy. Why are you so happy? They've definitely asked me that question. And then I've had people on the street too that just say hi to me because it's like I'm like giving that energy out, and I've never had that happen since, tuning into my heart and connecting with my higher chakras and living in higher frequencies. I swear it's like if you put that energy out there, I mean, yeah, people start realizing it and they feel it too because, we're all connected to the same thing. But um, I know I've had moments and God, I can't think of them right now. But yeah, what about you, Simone?
I can't really think about moments right now either, but I've definitely, especially recently, just felt like people have been attracted to my energy. Like even to the point where I get that weird feeling where I'm like, am I being punked right now?
Wow.
And I had that feeling at the retreat as well once. I remember there were these two ladies that like started talking to me and like we just met and I just felt like they were so
Hmm.
like holding space for me and wanted to like know more, and I felt the
Hmm.
same, and I don't know how to describe it. But
It's
yeah,
the
so I
most
can't think of
unfamiliar.
specific. Yeah, yeah, unfamiliar, familiar feeling. Can't think of any specific examples, but yeah, just like people being more attracted to my energy in general, I think recently. What about you, Keegan?
Mhm. Um, I'm mostly by myself when kind of like a lot when I'm not at a retreat, but at the last retreat, I was just sitting there. And I had like two people walk up in a row and like hug me from behind, and then like a few people in line that were just like thanking me for things I had said to them. And
Wow.
so like usually it's like at retreats where people come up and like thank me, and I'm like, what did I do? Like I don't know what I did, but I don't know, just where I don't know. So I do feel it sometimes like at retreats. And then but yeah, like the other day I went in Walmart, and then it was just like weird. People like holding doors, like really helping me, like being like super friendly, super helpful. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
what reality? Like
Yeah. That's
I
not
had
how
like
we.
five people in a row or something. Like
What? That's crazy.
I mean in Walmart. But what were you saying?
Oh no, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. It's really powerful. The more you tune into your heart and connect, the more synchronicities and you have, and more people like are aware of like your aura changes, you know. And
Hmm. Well, I also had somebody recently say to me, like, I can't remember how they worded it, but it was like, we can all see your light. And I was like, ah, I don't
wow.
know why, but it just was like, gave me chills when that person said that.
Yeah, the more you keep meditating too, it's just like it's gonna happen more, you know. That's super cool. It makes you feel good because you're like, yeah, I've been working on myself and like
Yeah.
you can do it too, you know?
Yeah.
And that's
I have
awesome.
a question for you guys if we still have time. Do we still have time?
Yeah, like 15
Okay.
minutes for me.
Okay, this is like the main thing I'm wondering about. Is like, okay, on along this line of thinking, right? I'm always like, okay, I have to do a Botech. Like every morning I have to start with a Botech to like make sure that my energy is like right and good for the day and like aligned and like in tune and harmonized. Or like, do you guys just do like a tuning into new potentials in the morning? Because that's really important to do in the morning too, or some other one that's not a Botech. Like what do you guys do? Because I feel like if I don't do a Botech, at least one each day, then I'm not like going out in the world like fully aligned. What do you guys feel like?
Hmm. That's a great experiment for me to do. Um, I don't really think about it. I should though, because you want to, because I feel like the more I did the breath, like now that I do the breath every day and I squeeze my centers and I work on those muscles, I can feel them. Even if I don't do like the Bowtech for a little bit, I can still feel those muscles and I can tune into them when I want to. Um, but yeah, I do think there is something there with that meditation for sure, because you got to keep remembering where those are. I think that it probably does help to do that every morning, honestly. I need to think about that more. I'm actually very curious if I did that every morning, what would happen? Because yeah, I kind of just do what I'm feeling, or I'll try something new, um, or I'll do the same ones over. But yeah, that's a great question.
I agree. It's a really good question. And we've talked about this before, I think, Keegan, that when I first started doing Dr. Joe's work, I didn't really connect to blessing of the energy centers. And then for like a week and a half, I went through all of them. And I felt like by doing that, I took a step further into the depth of my meditation because I started to like train my body to feel the energy because before that I didn't know how to do that. And I actually forgot to say this when we were talking about what happened to me last night. Last night, I could feel the energy in my throat chakra doing something really weird, and also in my heart. I had pain in my heart at one point and could feel the energy in there.
Mhm.
So, yeah, same. Like, thanks for the reminder to like maybe go back to that one because I do think it's important. I wonder how much we can still like be in tune with the energy centers when doing other meditations.
Mm.
Like, can we do that, or does it have to specifically be that one? What does going into the blackness mean for your centers? Does that help balance them out? Yeah, I don't know. It's a really good question. What do you think from your experience of doing that every day, Keegan?
I don't know. Like you guys are bringing up my exact like curiosity about it because is doing the breath just like enough to align me enough to like be super calm baseline like for the day, you know what I mean? Like and then I could do tuning into new potentials, whatever, but like you're saying, like I don't know. I don't know. It's something I'm really, really curious about because he's got 11 Botox and he's got one pineal gland and one, like, so I'm like, okay, there's obviously Botox pretty important if there's 11 of them.
Yeah, I think it
And
is. I really think it is. Because the more you think about those centers, they have their own brain, right? They're, I mean, so it would make sense that if the more you tune into them, the more you're going to activate them each day. Man, I feel like I want to do that every day now just to see. Yeah.
It's hard, like, because then you run into time stuff, right? Because you're like, okay, if I'm doing the breath and then I'm doing a Botox and I know I got to get tuning into new potentials in, and like right now I'm
Yeah.
trying to do walking meditation. It's like,
I know it's like there's too many good things. I know.
then you bring up center of the magnet, and now I'm like, oh my God, I need to do center of the magnet every morning because
I swear to you, like you tune into your heart that long, it's you have
right.
mystical because you can not only can you have mystical experiences with your pineal gland, but in your with your heart too, you know? Like your
You're
heart,
so
oh, it's so crazy. I would have never thought that. But
you just
yeah,
have to spend the whole day meditating, I guess. Get
I
in an
guess.
ideal world.
I think that's gonna happen at some point. We'll get close to that, you know, or more, I don't know. Because I don't I've yeah, there's days where I've meditated like 3 to 4 times because I've had time and I'm like, there's nothing else to do. But yeah. Um, yeah, do we want to ask one more question maybe? Then call it. I can. Did I ask a question recently? No? Oh, or Simone, did you?
I asked one recently, but I'm happy to ask another one if you don't wanna.
I'm gonna look at your questions real quick. Let's see.
wish my camera wasn't all like hazy and bad light, but my screen is broken. My camera's still circular.
Dang. It'll be okay. It'll be fine.
Moon, you have great light, but you're in the daylight, and Mark and I are nighttime.
Yeah, we are in the
Yeah,
A.
and then my webcam is like HD, and I've got a little ring light on me as well.
Mm.
Dang, fancy. Gotta get ready for those
It's
YouTube
usually my big
thumbnails.
umbrella light, but that's in my art studio just now, so
Oh my gosh, speaking of that, your last YouTube video was really cool.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
It's
that
one
was
of
well
my
done.
favorite ones I've ever done.
Yeah, really
I
well
was
done.
like crying while like, because like when you edit, sometimes like you put the stuff together, you put the music on, and then you're like, let me just watch this little bit that I've edited. And then you're like, holy shit, just the timing of stuff and the pause when after I said that bit and then the music went soft. And there was a part where I watched it back and I was like, oh my God, it's so beautiful.
That's awesome. Yeah. It like lined up perfectly where your voice
It
like
lined up
mm,
perfectly.
yeah, that's a good one. I'm excited for that one to reach a lot of people
Thank you.
for sure. Okay, I have the last question. How can we balance living in the 3D and 5D?
Ooh.
That is so good. I'm gonna listen first because I don't know.
Yeah, that's a great question.
You want to go first, Mark?
Okay, I think I don't know if this makes sense. Maybe the best way to balance that or try to balance 3D and 5D is being in the present moment
Hmm.
Yeah, because that's access to both worlds, right?
because you're in your body still, but you're also can tap into. That is kind of when I feel 5D, honestly. When I'm
Mhm.
so present and I have no other thoughts and I'm like focused in on something that makes me feel good. I'm still in my human body, but I also feel like very elevated emotions, you know? Hmm.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I
that
just
was
got a little
Great.
shiver because you gave me a realization.
awesome. I just like thought, I was like, whoa, what just came out of my mouth?
When I paint, I get so present, and that's why I love it. I feel like
Hmm,
I'm gonna cry. Oh my God. Oof. Thanks for that, Mark.
for sure.
I'm having a moment now.
Um,
Do you want to answer, Keegan?
um, that was such a good answer, Mark. Oh
That's
my
such
God.
a good answer.
And
Thank
Simone, that
you.
makes perfect sense. Like, of course, when you're painting, you're completely immersed in the present
Yeah.
moment. That is so powerful. The only thing I would add to that is that many times I've come out of a meditation and acted on my intuition and like followed my intuition. And that's just like, I don't know if that's balancing it, but it somehow helps me being in both worlds because like I'm getting the downloads from this world
Hmm,
and then I'm taking action in this world from that download.
Mhm.
So that's kind of been an important thing for me. But I love the answer being in the present moment because yeah, like when we're listening to music or when we're immersed in something we love or I mean that is when we're in that state of joy and when our mind is just like allowing and just like being present. So I don't think there's a much better answer than that. But I will say I think it's important to act on your intuition and to trust it. There is one thing I just want to
very good.
is like how much 5D is there for us in the 3D. Like now I'm starting to journal all the synchronicities and I like head it like with the title of like trust, like why I should just trust the universe. And I'll like give myself all these reasons how the universe has shown up for me. Like I happen to see this person and that person led me to that person and that person led me to that person. And like, holy shit, like is the universe fucking showing up or what? So
Hmm,
like it is integrating the 5D and the 3D because it's like it's just more and more stepping into that trust of like the unknown that it is supporting me and it is holding me like in the 3D.
Damn, that was well
Yeah,
said
that's so
too.
beautiful. Yeah.
Very, 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 very true. Wow. I think we all gave some really good answers there for that question, which is a hard question.
Hmm.
But no, you're right, Keegan. Dang. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
like
was
the
good.
universe loves us so much that yeah, the way that you worded it, Keegan, was really beautiful.
But Simone, you told me once about like when you had that realization, like the universe loves us so much that like when we
Oh yeah.
can you remember what you said? Because it's a
Yeah.
way to end it. It's so good.
Yeah. Mark, I had this like download one time when I was meditation, when I was in meditation, that it was like a way for me to um like sort of bring this concept down to like a human level where I could kind of challenge my old self a bit more. Um, like imagine that the universe is a person. So imagine you are the universe and you are a person, right? And you are like we've all felt unconditional love, right? At some point in our meditations. And when we feel that, the only thing that you want to do is give that to somebody else.
Mm,
So imagine the universe is this person like you, and you love this other person so much that you want to give them this stuff, like you want to shower them with all this love and abundance, and then this person has been like, no, 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 I don't want that. You, as the universe who wants to give, would be like, why are you not accepting this? I love you so much, and it would make me happy too if you just accepted this and allowed me to like shower you with this love. And that kind of like helped me to like think about it in another way. Like the universe loves us so much and
mm.
just wants to give us everything. And but we're like cutting it off. Like, why are
Yeah.
we doing that?
How do we cut it off? Clarify how we cut it off, because I think that's
Damn,
important.
damn.
By not trusting, by not allowing, by not feeling deserving.
Right. Wow. Yep. Yeah, once you start like disconnecting or not trusting in it, it doesn't work out the way. But yeah, you're so right. It's just there to like it provides all the time. And we got to remember
Yes,
that because yeah,
it just wants you to accept it. And we're like, no.
I know, and we do that to people where we're like, I just want you to accept this love, and people are like, no, but it's so true. The universe does the same thing with us, and we get so scared or just like not ready for it, you know. Wow, that was really well said. That's phew.
Yeah. And just the fact that you said like when we're not feeling deserving, like for me, that really rings true because like how many times, countless, that I felt undeserving, but I was actually this is why Dr. Joe says don't ever feel guilt or shame, even if you did something bad, because you're stopping the universe from flowing through you. And so, like, if we're feeling undeserving, we're not allowing the universe to flow through us. We're like saying, like, no, I don't want your love. I want to just feel this imaginary way in the headset, what is it? What does he call it? The whatever headset.
Oh,
Like have
the
VR,
VR.
Yeah, what's that stand for?
virtual reality.
Virtual.
Yeah, VR, VR. Okay, I thought you said ear for some, but yes, yes, like we just have this virtual reality headset on, which is why it's like so important to like ignore the VR, like
Yeah.
Hmm.
as
Hmm.
much as possible. It was created by the past.
Yes. Wow. So true. I mean, yeah,
We can't.
literally, yeah, you're only, and Joe says this, I'm pretty sure the universe only gives you what you're worthy of receiving.
Mhm.
And it's so easy to forget that.
Yes, and I want to clarify, like, don't completely ignore the VR, but yeah, like try to understand it is the virtual reality.
For sure. For sure. When Joe started saying that in his retreats, I don't know if he said that the whole time. Like, I think my friend told me that it was like a newer thing he was starting to say, but I'm just like, wow, the VR set, just taking it off and going back home, when you meditate.
He's
It's
been saying
amazing.
it so much lately. Like he said it constantly in Cancun, like just reminding us constantly we're in the virtual reality.
Oh my God, yeah. Crazy.
Oh, I've got one last question. It's a very short answer, don't worry. When
Cool.
is your next retreat, Keegan?
Saturday. What day is
What?
today?
Did you not know that, Simone?
I don't I don't think so.
That's
Where is it?
awesome.
Well, I fly Saturday to get to Cancun again. Um,
I'm so excited
yeah,
to
and
hear about it because it's a longer um
then,
wait, what is it called again?
yeah, a longer AFU advanced
That's
Oh,
follow-up.
follow-up.
so it's usually 3 days and it's 5 days this time, is that right?
Yeah, so it's 5 days and I'm really excited. And I might walk with my friend Angela um has a reason why she needs someone to like walk with her on the beach. And so I might be doing all my walking meditations with her, which would be so awesome.
Wow.
Um yeah, so and that'll just be so different for me and so cool to like do that and help someone else during that.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'm excited. The AFU is kind of like coming home because like you've met people at different week longs and then a lot of them are there. So that'll be fun and I don't know. It'll be really short though, because really a 5 day is actually a 4 day because one day is registration. So it's gonna just fly by.
It'll be amazing though. I'm excited to hear about it.
Same.
Yeah, my next retreat, I don't know. I'm trusting the unknown.
Love that.
I think it'll come when it needs to come because I think I'm trying too hard to want to volunteer and because I didn't get accepted to the Austin one and honestly I probably couldn't afford it, but it's all meant to be. So I'm just trusting whenever it is the right time. I'd love to go honestly, you know, every day. I mean, we all would, but I know that I need to be practicing in the real world, I think now. So I think that's my practice. Yeah, Simone, what about you?
Well, last night when I was already in the future,
Mhm.
I was very financially abundant and I was going to come to whatever retreat is near September or August because my friend's getting married, so I'll need to go back to the UK area at that time. But I'm gonna let things unfold first. So hopefully see you guys near that time in person.
I hope so too. Yeah, I'm curious what event is going on then. I know that Colorado's in July or June, June or July.
Nashville probably in September. We could all meet up in Nashville.
I would love to go back there. That oh, you never know. Let's see what manifests it.
Put our order in with the 5D. Now just
Hmm.
patiently waiting for it to physically manifest.
It'll all happen at the right time. We're all gonna be back at one. I mean, Keegan will be, but we'll all be at one soon together.
Dancing. No, 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 no.
Hmm. I'm excited.